When you're moving your infrastructure from the traditional to the future, you could attend a seminar, maybe get a consultant, or you could just speak with my next guest, Mr. Carl Baptiste. He is a Senior Vice President of Unified Communications and Enterprise Solutions at Genband. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me.
For the folks who might be at home wondering, what is Genband? How would you describe what it is that you do?
Genband is a company focused on real-time communications that has a long heritage in voice over IP. And essentially we've taken a set of legacy technologies and moved them forward into current form factors, software virtualization, and really moved ourselves towards the current generation of communication solutions in that software and cloud environment.
Now that was a quick sentence, a quick phrase, but very, very dense and very, very important. Let's talk about first that point of moving things from the legacy applications, what we're used to, what you normally expect to have when you're running anything from a small to medium business up to an enterprise. There has been a discussion as we've moved that infrastructure on what is necessary, what do you need, what do you want, and especially what is it that you could do without. How does that conversation go? So when someone is speaking with, say, one of your representatives, how do they decide what needs to come over?
I think people get confused in the market because there's so much disruption in the communications market by all of the opportunities there are, right? What we find that the best conversations go with what is your specific business problem that you're trying to solve. Are you taking cost out? Are you adding value? Are you trying to improve productivity in some way? What is your specific business problem? So we find the best conversations go like that, right? We find the business problem that's being solved, we focus on it, solve it, and move people forward. Because otherwise it's just too much. There's just too many opportunities, too much what if kind of conversation goes on, and we like to make it concrete, right? So what are you trying to do? And that's what works the best.
It sounds like that's a conversation that more businesses need to have, because there seems to be, in some of the deployments that I've seen at least, there's this sort of, well, we do it because everyone else does it, rather than, well, what is it that our team needs in order to be productive? Let's talk a little bit about that transition, because we've seen a great transition over the last, say, 3 to 5 years, where everything is now as a service, everything can be done, infrastructure done by somebody else, and especially in the last year or so, we've seen the move from premise to cloud to private cloud, and now a combination, that hybrid solution. How does that fit into the discussion about what I need to bring over from my legacy applications?
Well, I think it's very similar, right? We've run into companies that their voicemail systems have become obsolete, right? And as you know, more and more manufacturers are getting out of that business, right? Or maybe they have a problem that's specific to branch offices that's not the same as their core network, right? So we find that, again, it's kind of the same principle. What are you trying to solve? What's your gap? What are you trying to move forward? And we find that customers come in different places. One might come in because they have a better voicemail solution in the cloud. One might come in because the cloud is a great way to serve their branch offices, right, in a hybrid environment with the rest of their solution. So it does change, but it's really driven. It's best driven by solving that specific business problem that you're facing right now, right? And it's rare that you find someone who's ready to do a full swap out of their whole infrastructure to go all cloud right away. So really hybrid, I think, is prevalent for many years to come here as we go through this transition.
That makes sense. Now, Carl, let's talk about something that, it's unique with companies like Genband, in that you deal a lot with ISPs, you'll do a lot with the vendors that are here at the show, but the end user, the endpoint, may not specifically know to ask for Genband by name. They just know that it's a company, it's a technology that powers the service that they expect. If we've got an IT manager out there who's hearing this podcast and wondering, maybe this is the service that I need, maybe this is the company that can help me with my transition, what would be the things you would want them to remember about what Genband does that you think is special or particularly unique?
So I think there's many companies in the market, and there's strong incumbents that have complete unified communication solutions. Genband is a little bit unique because our approach, while we would love to sell you everything we make, right, and we'd love to sell you a top-down unified communication solution, we've taken a very different approach, specifically with our client environment, that actually is really to coexist and extend. right? So I think we're uniquely positioned where we can deliver a full unified communications experience, but we're best suited to come in and integrate with your Salesforce or with your, with your prevalent desktop business applications and not try to displace them, right? So we have, as someone who is not necessarily an incumbent household name because of our business model, we're motivated to be more open, not to produce walled gardens, right? And to be able to add value and coexist within a variety of different infrastructures. So, we've got a great enterprise base, we've got a huge service provider base, but we find that different approach to the desktop, right? Not trying to own it all, but trying to coexist and extend is something that's very, very valuable, and we're finding it taking a lot of traction. Right, as people are transitioning to Lync or Skype for Business on their desktop, they're more involved with CRM solutions, right? Other collaboration solutions. We're very effective at doing that integration and allowing people to communicate the way they work.
We've been speaking with Carl Baptiste. He is a Senior Vice President for Unified Communications and Enterprise Solutions at Genband. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. Now, if they wanted to find more about Genband, about the services that you could provide, where could they go? Well,
two places. Obviously, genband.com, but also, interestingly enough, our platform as a service offer in the cloud. The great place to go to see what you can do with our solutions is candy.io, candy with a K.io.
Carl, thank you again. I'm Father Robert Ballister, the Digital Jesuit from Enterprise Connect 2016 in Orlando, Florida.